for you.
Hi there, everybody. Epitome the Burn Kid back after a nice little break to relocate. Welcome to my new studio home here in Manitou Springs, Colorado. Packed up the family, moved from Maryland, if you caught the update and last supplemental broadcast, and relocated to the mountains and absolutely loving it. So I hope everyone had a really good break. As promised, I am back with episode 15, titled Giants, Tartaria, and the Gateways to Hidden History. I have a wonderful video syllabus for you this evening, and I also have some website links for some concepts and all that we're going to go over in the program today. So I'd like to welcome everyone back, all of my returning and new viewers. Thank you so much for coming back. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, let a friend know about what's up, because we learned some pretty cool stuff on this program. Welcome back. And let's go ahead and start with just some major points, and then we're going to go into a little introduction regarding Tartaria, and go through some sources, and go over the syllabus with everyone, and let you go with some ideas and stuff to go off and research and learn about. We're going to have a good time. So let's go ahead and start with some major points. So when we are going to just go over some keywords, or your kind of hashtag sort of words that are going to stand out for major points regarding Tartaria are Reset Wars, Orphan Trains, Cabbage Patch Kids, Giants, the Millennial Kingdom, Secret Societies, Hidden History, the Carrington Event, Aliens and UFOs, World Wars and Civil Wars, Capitalism, the Modern Era, the Medieval Era, the Exploration Era, and the Renaissance Era, which I am further and further convinced was a PSYOP. End of story, but we'll get into that later on in the program. Systems changes, dates and numerology, Moorish America, and like, really, what are they hiding and why? So those are some major points when looking at the basics of overall, what is this Tartarian conspiracy or empire, civilization, architecture? What is all of this all about, and why did it suddenly get like erased from the history books and everything sometime like in the 1800s, when this was a very long-standing worldwide global civilization that multiple people like dug up and overhauled and usurped and tried to claim as their own, would appear the story goes. So let's go ahead and get into our first source about, let me set my notes down for a moment, about 10 compelling reasons why Tartaria may have been hidden from history. So I'm going to go over the main 10 points and the sub-points as we go on down the list. This is from the website tartariaempire.com. So reason number one is to maintain the colonial narrative. Modern history promotes the idea that Western powers civilized the world. The existence of a global advanced civilization in Eurasia before Western colonization completely disrupts that storyline. Acknowledging Tartaria would mean admitting that Western powers destroyed something that was already highly sophisticated both culturally and technologically. Number two, because Tartarian technology was too advanced. From free energy towers and massive bells to cymatic healing and harmonic buildings, the old world's technology seems to have been based on sound, frequency, and sacred geometry. If this knowledge were rediscovered, it would undermine modern energy monopolies and expose the limitations of today's science. Number 3, to erase evidence of a unified global culture. Ancient cities across the world, from India to Mexico, Russia to Australia, show similar architecture, symbols, and sacred designs. The idea that these were independent developments is pushed hard, but Tartaria suggests a different possibility, a single interconnected global civilization. Number 4, because star forts and cities don't fit the timeline. The star forts, geometrically perfect, astronomically aligned, and globally distributed, exist in places where no military need for them is recorded. These structures hint at pre-flood or pre-reset knowledge of energy grids, not simple defensive forts. Their existence raises serious questions about who built them, when, and why. Number 5, to hide the mud flood catastrophe. Many believe that around the 1800s, a global catastrophe, possibly involving liquefaction or energy weaponry, buried entire cities under mud. Buildings with visible subfloors, half-buried entrances, and missing construction records support this. Acknowledging the mud flood would mean accepting a recent reset far more devastating than we've been told. Number 6, to suppress ancient knowledge of free energy. Domes, antennas, copper wiring, and spires on old buildings weren't just decorative. They may have collected ambient etheric energy similar to Tesla's theories, but if energy could be free, entire industries would collapse. Number 7, because religious power was at stake. Tartarian cathedrals and buildings are often aligned to the heavens, structured with sacred geometry and filled with symbols not exclusive to any one religion. The Vatican and other dominant religious institutions have had every reason to suppress a culture that unified science and spirit outside of dogma. Number 8, to control the human origin story. Accepting Tartaria would force a rewrite of human history, suggesting advanced pre-reset civilizations existed long after the last supposed Stone Age. That destroys the Darwinian linear model of human evolution and calls into question everything about our origins. Number 9, because it would expose the orphan train agenda. The empty cities phenomenon seen after the reset was followed by the forced movement of orphans across America, Europe, and Australia. These children, often nameless and without family, were used to repopulate areas emptied by the disaster. Who raised them? What were they told? And whose cities were they really living in? And number 10, to keep you disconnected from your power. In the end, hiding Tartaria isn't just about covering up buildings or empires. It's about erasing your connection to a more powerful, more harmonious past. A world where architecture healed, energy flowed freely, and people lived in balance with the earth. The conclusion is a history worth rediscovering. Tartaria wasn't just a place, it was a paradigm, one where architecture, energy, and spirituality merged, where cities vibrated with harmonic resonance, where history flowed differently. The silence surrounding Tartaria isn't accidental, it's strategic, and that silence is breaking. So that was our first source with the 10 main reasons from TartarianEmpire.com. The next site I'm going to give you some information from is called TartariaBritannica.com. And the two sections I'm going to read from are titled Buried Cities, Forgotten Structures, and Patterns of Erasure. So, if Tartaria was merely a misunderstanding, a relic of outdated geography, there would be little reason to continue asking questions. But across the realm, there are architectural anomalies that point to a far more complex past than what we have been taught. Consider the grand buildings of the 19th century, the so-called Beaux Arts, neoclassical, and Baroque structures that seem to appear fully formed in a historical blink. Many of them, we are told, were constructed in impossibly short time frames with rudimentary tools, yet they rival modern architecture in complexity and durability. Some curiously show signs of having been repurposed rather than originally built by the civilizations that claim them. In several cases, these buildings appear to have been excavated rather than constructed, as if they had been buried under layers of earth before being rediscovered. The phenomenon of mudflood buildings, structures partially buried with windows and entire floors beneath street level, raises further questions. While mainstream explanations attribute this natural shifts in the landscape, the sheer scale of these buried buildings suggests something more deliberate. Why do so many cities across Europe, Russia, and the Americas have architecture that appears to predate recorded settlement, only to have been partially submerged in earth? And now we're moving on to the next section, patterns of erasure, and then we're going to go to our final source. And here we go. History is written not just by victors, but by those who control narratives. Over the centuries, great fires, world's fairs, and urban renewals have provided convenient opportunities to erase and rebuild. The Great Fire of London in 1666. Remember how I said numerology? Keep note of the numbers that go through this topic as you go through it. It's a good idea. The fires that swept through American cities in the 19th century and the mysterious destruction of entire districts in European capitals all led to rapid reconstruction efforts. You know how I said the Renaissance was a psyop? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, just saying. What was lost in these events? What was built over, altered, or removed from historical memory? The pattern repeats itself across continents. Remember how I mentioned Moorish America? You know, Moorish America is pre-exploration, right? Just saying, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Buildings that should not exist in the time frame they are assigned to. You know, there's like a Sphinx in the Grand Canyon and like other Egyptian things. Just a little, you know, pointing you to the direction of, I don't think they're telling us the truth whatsoever. Urban layouts that suggest older foundations beneath modern streets, a suspiciously uniform approach to historical preservation that favors reconstruction over investigation. It is not that we are looking at a single lost empire, but rather at a series of resets, periods where history was rewritten to fit a new narrative. A narrative like a false matrix, like, you know, the thing that New Earth is supposed to fix. So, yeah, that. And why this matters, finally. The questions surrounding Tartaria are not just about whether an empire was erased. They point to a much larger issue, the way history itself is managed, altered, and controlled. If entire civilizations can be forgotten, if their contributions can be reassigned or buried, what does that say about our understanding of the past? The true nature of Tartaria may never fully be uncovered, but that is not the point. What matters is recognizing that history, as it has been presented to us, is not a flawless record. It's actually, history is technically a social science, and all science is technically a pseudoscience, because all science is based on very, very, very highly flawed theories that are literally oversimplified reductionist notions that the material dialectic and particle physics agenda permits. But we'll get into all of that on another episode. I don't want to throw all that into the Tartaria episode. That's entirely too much. Back to the script. There are holes, contradictions, and deliberate omissions. What else has been removed? What else have we been told is impossible simply because the official narrative has no place for it? I've been told colonization technically infers that we are all owned, bought, and funded by secret societies' money and usurps. My understanding is a lot of what we've been told is simply to literally have us consenting and going along with an agenda that no one should have ever consented to begin with. But that has to do with stuff beyond the ice wall. We'll get into that in future episodes, though. History leaves its traces, even when it is rewritten. The architecture we inherit tells a story that doesn't always match the official records. The question is, are we willing to see it? And now we're going to pop over just so we can get to the origins of this. Now I've moved over to historydefined.net. And this is the subtitle here is Origin of the Tartaria Conspiracy Theory. Like I said, all science, all social science, any science, all science technically is pseudoscience. Everything has been that we currently have founded has been based upon false, doctored, manipulated principles that are designed to control and subdue the public at large and make it seem like more trouble than it's worth to fight for and stand up for the truth and for other ways of living. So they've chosen to stigmatize a lot of things like the Tartarian conspiracy, claiming the roots in Russian pseudoscience. Well, you just heard my opinion about science, so I digress. Let's move forward. Mentions of Empire of Tartaria first appeared in Russian conspiracy theorist Anatoly Fomenko's New Chronology. Nikolai Levashov later spread his work around in his Racial Occult History. If you watch the last episode of Pan Panen with the tarot thing and the thing that was done to me and, you know, the other light workers, grid workers, chosen ones, 144K, who were marked for human sacrifice, this goes into this racial occult history, this usurping that this particular group does. And my understanding is these guys are of the scaly bunch and of the gray bunch. But you know, I don't really want to go into that here too far. This led to a belief that Russia was Tartaria, whose real origins were covered up by the West. Well, that's kind of ludicrous. We sort of know better than that. Later, the Russian Geographical Society debunked all these claims, said that that's just some weird extremist fantasy. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that for the sake of mention. Oh, pop-up ad, why must you? I'm filming right now. All right. Very good. Okay, so the talk about the Tartarian Empire seemingly fizzled out until 2016. Did you notice a lot of weird stuff started happening around 2016? I don't know about you, but I noticed things got real funny and society started moving funny, and things have really never been the same since. But back to the story. When it started to appear online on various YouTube conspiracy theory channels and eventually gained ground in 2017 when it began to pop up on Facebook, Reddit, and other social media channels. However, this theory deviated from its Russian origins and became an architectural conspiracy regarding the buildings and what have you that they dug up from these mud floods that they're. You know, these mud floods are a precursor to, like, the Earth disaster cycle, and they are a part of the Earth disaster cycle if you're over following suspicious observers. I have a more Ptolemaic view of matters, but to understand it from a, what I would call a mainstream science perspective, please go on over there and watch all the stuff they have going on there. They're really good. I'll put a link in the profile so you can, like, tie those ideas together. Oh yeah, back to the script. According to the proponents of this theory, Tartaria was a giant race of technologically superior beings. Remember how I mentioned giants? Yes. And there's a lot of photographic evidence of this too from the black and white era, who existed on Earth long before we came into the picture, and this actually makes a lot of sense evolutionarily speaking. Not the fake evolution, but the real evolution of how this, like, narrative, like, got constructed. Some even suggest that we devolved from them after the Great Flood of Mud. I'm here to tell you there were several great floods of mud, and this has happened with several different species of humanoid, unfortunately. This flood was responsible for wiping them and most of their technological innovations out, leaving only remnants of their architecture. So, yeah, that is the main overview that I have for everyone. And now I'm scrolling right now to the great cover up. Okay, so basically most of the modern world if you've noticed, all basically have the same kind of buildings, especially laid out in certain places in certain areas. You're going to notice these patterns, and you'll also notice that these buildings, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't believe the people of today could construct these buildings if they tried. I don't believe they're talented enough. I don't believe they know how to work with the materials. I don't believe they, I actually don't believe any modern builders could do what they want to claim was done in the 1800s. It's really far-fetched. Let me get my notes real quick. I had a few concepts that I wanted to cover with this before I go over the syllabus. Okay, so the first one I want to cover a little bit is the medieval, the exploration and the Renaissance narratives being complete psyops. I want to tie this concept into the Millennial Kingdom, Satan's little season, and how that's ending right now. Apparently the firmament's going to go out, the ice wall's going to come down, the sky's going to become fire, the continental drift is going to drift right quick, there's going to be mud floods, mega tidal waves. This is what buried Egypt and other places. This is what has shifted continents around. This is what's caused mass extinctions in the past. And the reason that they want to cover up these historical, I guess these facets of history, these other narratives, and defining these certain eras and things, is they want to literally rein in the knowledge and only link it to what they can reproduce and what they can somehow manufacture what I would call a mathematical understanding of. And if they're incapable of doing that, they literally try to erase the evidence, dismiss it as mythology, dismiss it as, just sort of a whim or what someone's idea. They want to dismiss anything that they cannot control. You'll notice that this trend, even if you read the history, I was a history major and philosophy major. If you go through and read history as they want you to learn history, especially, at the college level, you can sort of see that it's a little bit too systematic. It's a little too convenient, and it stays within a certain set of parameters that, in my opinion, would de facto render it a pseudoscience, because you're not accepting any and all data to go over your recorded history. You're picking and choosing. You're giving certain precedence to some voices over others, and most of the voices given precedence to are moneyed voices. And as we've discussed on prior episodes of the program, money's black magic. People go around with money and hypnotize people and get people to do things they would never do if they were not hypnotized and being emotionally manipulated and mind controlled with money scarcity tactics and all these other techniques that these weirdo secret societies have taught people and have misguided them. And when we look at how long does this repeat story go, I'm here to tell you, as a fractal of source, as a conduit of source, there's a disaster cycle, because apparently the inhabitants of this realm have a little problem with technology, money, and both of those things are technically magic, okay? They also have a problem with communication. Communication is also magic. These people apparently are very good at making things go extinct and even sinking continents like Atlantis and Lemuria and other places that no longer exist, because they get out of hand with communication, technology, and money. By the way, all of these are man-made things. All of these, technically speaking, are of unlimited abundance if we were so wise as to see things for what they truly are and not play the games that this matrix has tried to condition from almost birth to create a false social contract, which, by the way, is a very faulty theory in political philosophy and doesn't really hold much weight. Why they think it's reality, I could not tell you. But I digress. The narratives regarding exploration and all these advancements that happened at those times, that was usurping, guys. And then the other idea that I want to tie along with this is I am going to redefine a new set of parameters, okay, to understand race theory as they tried to cover it up. All right, so I'm here to talk about this is my new theory. Sit down. So let me try to give you a little something straight from the I guess my downloads combined with my logic and reasoning and my analysis. I'm going to give you an epistemology of a race theory. It's 3-tiered, all right? So first, and I'm going to tie it all to this, I swear to you, is natural racism, all right? That's theory number 1. And natural racism is what Spanish racism, or I'm going to call it 1600s racism, was designed to cover up. Theory number 2 is artificial racism, all right? I'm not saying it isn't real. I'm saying it's artificially imposed. It's not innate. It's not coming from a primal place within. I am stating that natural racism is coming from a primal place within. I'm going to go into why in a little bit, but let's just start with those ideas, natural and artificial. And then the third idea happens when these two ideas combine, right? Okay, and the third idea is called mega racism. And when mega racism gets going, you start seeing slavery, genocide, extreme environmental destruction, wars, you see a lot of crazy things happen that are trying to, I guess, distract us all from what's really happening at that time. And it all ties into this mud flood and cover up. So let me start with natural racism and how that relates to 1600s racism, how artificial racism relates to 1800s racism. For everyone American, understands American history, we're going to be talking about the one-drop rule regarded for 1800s racism, whereas the Spaniards' race chart from the 1600s, we're going to talk about how that is going to cover up natural racism, because that's more of what that is about, especially with like the disappearance of the Olmecs and other peoples that vanished without a trace. We got to really look into this and use our noggins for what they're trying to not tell us. And mega racism, when these two concepts combine, that's when you get the last time we saw mega racism, and I'm going to say most recently the last time we saw mega racism is the two main groups are going to be what I am going to dub communist, socialist, anarcho-confused peoples in general. All of those movements are the last one that I've seen mega racism come out of. I've also seen it come out of extreme Islam. I've also seen it come out of the CCP. Before then, instances where we would look at mega racism and we can clearly point it out, we would be looking at like Napoleon, we would be looking at like Mao, we would be looking at World Wars 1 and 2. These appear to be cover-ups for these ideas. So let me go ahead and start with natural racism and Tartaria and giants. All right. Natural racism is something that is within different humanoid species inside of us, primally, where we respond to humanoids who don't match the characteristics, the vibes, the auric fields, all of that. We can tell it's not the same species as us, but they've tried to cover up all of this knowledge, basically. Like a good example of covering up all of this is like during exploration, when they're going around and they're like finding all this stuff and they're meeting all these new people and there are all these like genocides and there's all these like bones of giants left behind. This is clear instance of natural racism where one species of humanoid approaches another species of humanoid, something in them goes off, and boom, you have natural racism, all right? Artificial racism, which we're gonna say, we're gonna call it 1800s racism as well, is racism where people who are, I guess, of a majority, people of a majority are going to literally, arbitrarily, and artificially set their own parameters regarding what is and is not a race, what constitutes counting and not counting. There is nothing primal or instinctual about this. Artificial racism is calculated. It's normally for an economic strategy. It's normally not even about racism. It's literally about being advantageous and finding any and all excuses, right down to inventing the current mainstream notions of race, which, if it were actual racism, like, not artificially imposed by I guess authority figures or what have you, there would be something instinctual about this. It wouldn't be a strategy. It wouldn't be some devised way to propel or expand your society. It wouldn't even, that would serve absolutely no purpose. So mega racism is when these things like combine. Mega racism is when we start looking at secret societies, we start looking at religious sects, we start looking at the Inquisition, we start looking at the witch trials, we start piecing together a lot of these other components where natural racism and artificial racism seem to combine. And over the ages, there are far less different species of humanoid than there were, right down to the point that you can see that certain continents are shaped like the humanoids they are literally made of from other cataclysms from eons past. So, yeah, to pull all of that together, these mud floods and cover-ups, because these mud floods happen on cycles and they happen randomly, and the last civilization to be taken down was the Tartarian one. All the areas that this happened to, and the areas happen to be around riverbeds and ley lines, which is, you know, where a lot of people have gone to settle, or dare I say usurp their settlement when they discovered new land. It wasn't as new as they want to pretend that it was. So to cover up all these notions, they start crafting these other narratives just to get people not to ask questions, just to get people not to investigate further, and for no one to hold accountability, and so that they maintain a absolutely grotesque amount of power. And the most common places that you can really see the clearest examples of this are the Western world. France, the US, Germany all have a lot of historic sites where you can see the mud flood evidence very clearly. And if you piece it all together, it's, you know, going to kind of come out like I told you. You're going to start seeing, oh, so they don't want us to know that this is just a thing. They don't want us to know maybe we should live another way. They don't want us to know maybe you shouldn't put a power plant there. Yeah, they don't want us to really know or investigate the truth about this. They want to dismiss everything as pseudoscience, myth, urban legend, conspiracy theory, insert slur here. And this is just what they do. And my other point now. So the this all ties into the Earth natural cycle disaster cover-up, which I will have links in the thing for you to go look at more on that. And this is basically the secret society's linchpin to controlling their matrix empire entirely off of lies and illusion that are indoctrinated, instilled, and legislated as requirements, while trying to convince you that you must uphold this under the guise of some social contract that you didn't even get to read, let alone sign or consent to. It's a bit absurd if you ask me. And for other fun views, fun on this, definitely go check out the last auspicious op-ed I did on Robotech. It very much ties into the themes here about Tartaria. And the next op-ed I'm about to do on the next supplemental broadcast is going to be on Bubblegum Crisis, which is going to give us another different cybernetic, more transhumanist view of this same deal. Because let's be real, Mega Tokyo is hyperbole for post-cataclysm. Japan ain't Japan no more, is it? Yeah. So we're gonna like tie all of that stuff in there. So I hope that you got some good ideas and some info out of this to start further research about Tartaria and hidden history. You're gonna find Tartaria is a lot like Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, like other places, Shambhala, Agartha, places that are no longer spoken about, but you go back into old Renaissance writings and it's well documented, but people want to tell you those people didn't know what they were talking about. Those people thought the earth was flat. And, like other things like that, shaming and trying to gaslight, use black magic and spell work to trick you into believing a false history, a false economy, false governmental system, false legislation. If you are not following the YouTube Recommended Chronicles, that is the sister component to this show on X and Tumblr, please do while we're here. Because a lot of the memes and stuff have to do with Tartaria, hidden history, and the like. So yeah, let me go ahead and get you into the syllabus links so that you know what to look forward to. And I will send everyone on some merry studies. I'd like to thank everyone once again for being here with me. And let's go ahead and get on into the syllabus links. The Remains of Giants by Gabriel Dragonescu. Well, that title cut off. But The Remains of Giants. White Giants of the New World by Robert Sepper. The Great Tartarian Empire by Robert Sepper. The Crisis of Tartaria by Lucius Aurelian. Solomon, the First King of Tartaria. Tales of the Old World. Forgotten History of Tartaria and the Old World, Lucius Aurelian. The Crisis of Tartaria. Oh, that one doubled. Whoops. Okay, so we got that. Okay. This Bible shows our reality is false, the biggest cover-up of all time. Billy Carson on Anunnaki, alien gods who created the first ... Tartarian Toilets and the Antiquitech of the 19th Century by Jared Boosters. Tartaria Conference 2025, hosted by Elizabeth Hancock. What Happened to All the Adults? Interview with Richard Vobes. A Little Season in New York City on the channel My Lunch Break. Finding Tartaria from My Lunch Break. History That Has Been Hidden, another interview with Richard Vobes. Tartaria Explained Supercut Old World from Ancient Historia. Tartaria, The Lost Science of Sacred Power by Jane 108 Academy. Tartaria Healing Frequencies. This is not music extremely powerful to try out some sonics. Tartaria Healing Vibration Tones and Power of Ancient Bells from You Create Reality. Tartary in San Francisco, oldest photographs from 1860 to 1869. Fort Ross and The Gold Rush by Jared Boosters. The Knights of Tartaria. And just for fun, I did a couple of songs titled Tartaria. They're pretty good. They're down here too. And some music videos. Those are pretty excellent as well. But anyway, that is all I have for you to get your feet wet on Tartaria and to tie it into the other concepts of the show. If you've made it with me this far, thank you so much for being here. If you are entirely unaware of what Pampanen Prophetic Pious Ponderings are, basically I'm here to just inform you I am all three. I am religious, a spiritual, and a theological person. And this show is a sister podcast to the Supplemental Broadcast and the YouTube Recommended Chronicles. This deals with the more spiritual side of the stories that we cover. And it's from a perspective influenced by my religious, spiritual, and theological beliefs. So just to let my newcomers know real quick what all of that is, because it's been a bit since I've told everyone. My religious beliefs are a big hodgepodge of Buddhist, Taoist, Abrahamic, pagan, neo-pagan, indigenous, and other ancient belief systems. What I've learned from all of that I find beneficial and to be true, and that checks out when tested. While spiritually, I am a pantheist. Everything is all parts and components of God. God simply is, and we are a part of that experience. And my theological beliefs are panentheist. I believe that there is a spark of God inside of all of us, if we so choose to foster that spark and further its potential in this world, and what the divine can do through us as conduits of the divine, especially if you're from one of the major communities that I try to serve, which is light workers, chosen ones, 144K, grid workers, people who are here for New Earth, and also all of the people from the more secular truth, freedom, and sovereignty movement. It's helping them get their feet wet in these more spiritual ideas, more outer worldly ideas and concepts. So again, I'd like to welcome you to the show. You will be able to find the soundtrack for this episode, which I'm actually about to go make. It's so fun. Over on my SoundCloud, the links for everywhere you can find me, all of the sources used for the show, and all of the videos this were used for the script and syllabus. I'll have all of that for you in the description box. I'd like to thank everyone for being here again, and welcome to our new set as we get settled in, and I look forward to seeing everyone on episode 16. I am not sure what we're doing for episode 16 just yet, but I'm thinking we're going to start approaching this concept that I got a download about through the videos this week in the YouTube Recommended Chronicles. It's come to my attention that these dark forces types, that they like absolutely hate beauty, love, happiness, you know, all that is good, all that is worth living for. And all this like brutalist architecture and going around and making everything ugly, and like all the shows on like TV like are like ugly and sad, and like the movies are like ugly and sad, and like the music is like ugly and sad, and like all of it's like intentional because it's all like a weird form of black magic and like a psyop to try to maintain social control and invoke a trance via like mass formation psychosis and like other principles of dark psychology utilized through media and other like technological sources to indirectly impose it onto the populace and have them, you know, incidentally accept it as normal, like, you know, given uninformed like indirect consent. But we will get into that next time. Thanks again for being here. I hope I did not ramble entirely too long. I hope you have fun learning about Tartaria. We have a new slogan for OK Copernicus, so here it is. Ptolemaic vibes, alchemical knowledge, banging beats, OK Copernicus. I like to wish you all adieu, and keep on being excellent, keep being awesome. We need it more than ever, because boy, do we have some interesting stuff going on out there as this little season comes to an end, and we are ready for the new Earth to come shining on in. See you next time, guys. Bye.